Say more things.
I'm a slut.
So who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm kind of excited about it because it's something that I thought of, and I think it's going to be like a really cool addition to my regular psychology, philosophy, introspection videos. I have been watching a channel called Anna Psychology. I'll post a link down in the description to the specific video that triggered this idea, but it's basically just a channel by a psychology student where she uses psychology and applies it to real-world applications. I've been watching particularly her relationships and sex advice playlist. Many times in the relationship playlist, she talks about how important it is to not be stubborn and to make compromises in order to make a relationship work. This, however, is fundamentally against what I believe is the ideal relationship. For me, the more you have to compromise and sacrifice, obviously in an ideal world, some people can't find someone who they can mesh with this well, but the more you have to compromise, the worse the relationship becomes. I personally believe that the best relationship, the idealized relationship, is one where the two people can coexist completely themselves, embrace their differences, embrace their lifestyles, and wholly lift each other up and bring things into each other's lives rather than taking away multiple things in order to even make it work. So there was one particular video that I watched of Anna's where she talked about a scenario in which there was a guy and a girl, and they were talking about healthy compromises versus unhealthy compromises or being too stubborn. She actually alleges that based on studies and data, the number one indicator of a relationship not working out is one or both people having the trait of stubbornness and not being able to compromise. So ostensibly, my way of having relationships is most probably doomed to fail based on personality traits of the people inside the relationship. I'm gonna be polling 5 or 6 of my friends on a similar scenario to the one that Anna had in her video, and I'm gonna be asking 5 or 6 of my friends different questions that I've formulated, very scientifically, I might add. They're all gonna be the exact same questions, exact same scenario, worded exactly the same. And I'm gonna ask these questions to gauge my friends' reactions on compromise and on this scenario in particular. My hypothesis is that I'm gonna be alone in feeling like this compromise is very stressful, unproductive, negative to the relationship. I agree that there are small things that you should compromise on, but I feel like it's a very quick to cross and very fine line between compromising in slight ways and completely changing yourself or becoming a detriment to the other person, instead of just changing certain insecurities or problems that you might have in order to fit the person or finding a different person. Again, I feel like I might have an idealized view of relationships because I feel like I have such a good one. With Jay, I've been with him for over 15 years now, and while I feel like we do sometimes have to compromise, my goal is always to allow him to be himself as much as possible while he allows me to be myself as much as possible. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add. One thing I do want to say is that if you guys want to play along, when I ask these questions, pause, start typing a comment, and respond to the question, and then hit play again. Let's go ahead and get into the scenario and the interviews. Hello. First off, introduce yourself, give me your name, age, and relationship status.
Okay, Michaela Roseberry, and age?
Yeah.
22, and single.
That works.
I'm Brandon, aka Cold, single, and 21.
My name is Jill, I'm 37, and I am in a relationship.
With Tara.
Apparently.
My name's Lisa, I'm 39, and I'm married
Okay.
to Tara.
To Tara. These are my hoes, you know?
Hi, my name is Red. I'm 30 years old, and I'm very not single.
Very not single.
Okay, my name is Hunter. I'm 28 and I'm single as fuck.
I'll drink to that.
J, 32, single.
So I'm gonna read a scenario to you and then ask you some questions based on how you feel about the scenario. Sound good?
Yeah, sure.
There's a couple named Jack and Jill. They're past the honeymoon phase and are in a long-term committed relationship. Jack spends most of his time working and travels frequently for work. Jill's biggest issue with the relationship is the lack of time she feels she gets to connect with Jack because of how much he works. Her needs for intimacy are not being met. This frustrates Jack, especially when she calls him too much on business trips or complains when he is home and has to work, which adds another level of stress to his life. In an effort to compromise, Jill suggests Jack set aside his work entirely for one night a week, and in return, Jill will complain less and call him less when he is out of town. Now I'm gonna ask you some questions about this scenario. 1. Do you have any initial reactions, feelings, or opinions about this relationship scenario, positive or negative?
Wait, how old are Jack and Jill? Can I know that?
No, that's all the information you get.
Okay, I feel like their relationship is flawed because they're not even hanging out with each other because of his work.
Negative.
Why?
I think Jill is wrong for being that selfish as far as like put a side away from me and I'll stop bitching. Whoa, there's two people in this. There is a lot of me's on her side, so I don't think what she's saying is correct or polite towards Jack, who's working his ass off to provide for her and the family.
Yikes, I went the other way. I don't think that one night a week is that big a deal. It's one night. You can turn off your phone for one night.
Negative.
Why?
Well, I'm trying to understand more what the conflict is about.
Okay, well, you can't ask extra questions. You just got to go off of the vagueness of the scenario. But you feel negative?
Well, okay, with the information that I have, I don't feel anything. Neutral, I guess.
Okay, neutral.
I try to do this all the time.
Don't be funny. Be serious.
I do.
So positive then.
Positive. Sure, positive.
Okay.
Generally.
Generally.
Is it just them two? It's exclusive?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Negative.
Negative.
And they're married?
No.
They're not married.
Committed long-term relationship past the
And
honeymoon
she
stage.
doesn't work? No, we don't know.
We don't know.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would be curious about what their long-term prospects are for his job. But her proposition sounds good.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
It's bullshit? That's
It's
your initial-
bullshit, yeah.
Okay, so negative initial reaction.
Yeah.
Which partner, if any, do you personally identify with and why?
I identify with Jill.
You identify with Jill?
Yeah, because I'm always looking for more sex from my relationship.
I identify with Jack because, if my work isn't right, then my relationship's not going to be right. I'll be thinking about that while I'm doing this.
Probably Jack.
Why?
Sometimes I feel like I've been in situations where I feel like I'm equally committed to the relationship, but just because of what's going on at work, sometimes work can get busy or it might need more out of you. So just because what might be going on at work at the time, from outside perspective, it may seem like I'm not as committed to the relationship.
Definitely Jack.
Well, I feel like I used to be like the guy when I had a job. I don't know if I identify any more than that with either one.
The guy.
The guy?
Yeah. Because, I'm not going to push aside, my hobbies or my work.
I don't know. A little bit of both. I'm more free, so I guess Jill.
Based on the limited information, which partner, if either, sounds more committed to the relationship?
I think both are equally committed in the relationship.
Jill.
Jill.
For sure.
I mean, that's hard to tell from the information. We don't really have any info on how much Jack likes her, so I guess I could only go off of the fact that Jill seems to bother him a lot, so she clearly likes him.
Well, that's hard, though, because we don't really have that much information about the guy.
That's true,
so
but gut feeling or...
Maybe the girl, because she's so mad about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah?
ask me. What do you think? You're doing
I
the
don't know.
Jill.
Committed? I don't know. I think it's a fair share not committed, I guess. I don't know. That's a weird question.
I mean, she sounds like she's putting in more effort. Does that mean commitment? It sounds to me like Jill's thinking about having a textual relationship with somebody else.
Ooh, fancy. What good word?
Damn.
Not in person. Just flirting online, probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was thinking textures.
Textures. There's layers to this relationship. Do you think the compromise is a fair one?
Am I still Jack?
Yeah.
Is this to be used against me later? Oh, then Jill's the fair compromise.
Jill's the fair compromise.
I think Jack is more unfair than Jill's is fair.
Well, there is a the whole compromise as a whole. Is it fair? What she's giving and what he's giving.
No.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on his job. If he's a doctor or something, he's not able to do that. I'm assuming her proposition makes sense, but then I don't really know why Jack hasn't done that earlier. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if Jack can do that, then that sounds good. And if that hurts his job, then they have to decide how important his job is compared to how important the relationship is. Why are we doing this? What is this?
No.
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 Yeah, once a week. Sounds fair.
No, there could be a better one.
could be a better one.
Yeah, there could be a better one.
It could be better.
It could be better.
Yes, it's very fair.
If you were a friend of theirs, would you be rooting for this relationship, or does it seem doomed?
What have you what for this one?
Rooting.
Rooting for this one. Again, it just like depends on like, is he trying to like move up in his career and like in a year or two he's gonna have more free time? Because if this seems to be indefinite, then like it doesn't sound like Jill will be happy. Jill needs either like friends or like a fuck buddy on the side or something. I don't know. I don't know if this is where that's supposed to be going or.
Well, is the guy willing to compromise, or?
I don't know.
Because if you were willing to compromise, then sure. But like if he's just like, no, like my work comes first, and then she gets super like butthurt about it, then.
Okay.
Seems dumb.
Oh, always, if I'm friends, yeah, I'm rooting for it. I hope it works out. I don't even know them and I still want it to work out.
It's not even a real relationship, and I still want it to work out.
Yeah.
I think that they might not be matched for each other because he's going to need somebody to play more of a support role than a leading role, and she's going to need to be somebody's leading person. So, am I rooting for them? Sure, but do I think that they should stay together? Probably not.
I think I would root for the relationship. I think this is a very common problem.
Okay.
God, dude, from the start, come on.
If you were Jill, would you be satisfied with this compromise?
Of him just committing the one night.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
No, she's always gonna want more. Or if I was Jill, would I?
You are Jill, technically.
Well, no, if I was this Jill,
This Jill.
would it would probably satisfy me for like a month, and then I would find something else to bitch about.
I agree. I don't think that it's fair. I think that there should definitely be daily set aside time for a relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
I already told you I'm Jack.
Stop! If you were Jill.
Would I be satisfied with this compromise? Fuck no.
Fuck no?
Fuck no.
I don't know. It's up to Jill. What the fuck? If I was Jill, what the fuck? It's a weird. How would Jill be satisfied? Sounds like she is, right? Sounds like she likes that compromise.
If you were Jill.
If I was Jill, I'd have to know how much I like Jack and how much I'd want to like. It sounds like Jill has no life. I feel like Jill needs like a hobby or a job or I don't know. Sounds like she wants to hang out with Jack more than Jack cares to hang out with her.
Okay.
But I'm not sure of that. Like, there's not enough info.
How about if you were Jack?
Based on what it sounds like he wants in life, no.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was Jack and if I loved Jill, I would do it. I think it would be a fair start to a compromise.
Yeah, I think it's a good compromise 1 day a week, but eventually I think that it might make him want to do it more often than once a week.
Ooh, if it's good?
Yeah.
Like, if he really wants to
Yeah.
put in that effort.
Yes.
Oh, this is a dream come true. I've been trying to push this same plan forever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, again, depends on his job, but I assume that like it doesn't sound like too big of a sacrifice. It might like hurt his chances at like moving up in the career, and I guess in the long run that could hurt them because he could be stuck in this like working 80 hours a week thing or whatever forever. It's like it depends on the job because if he works 80 hours a week for like the next 6 months and that somehow enables him to become like a manager or CEO or something, and then therefore he gets to work only like 30 hours a week, and get paid hella more. Did I just say hella? That's weird. Then that would be worth it, right? But like we don't have that info, and he would have to explain that to Jill, and Jill will have to like find some kind of hobby to, like, I don't know.
No.
I feel like Jack would be pissed. Probably.
If Jack refused this compromise, how would you feel about Jack and or the strength of the relationship?
Jack's a dick.
Yeah, there's no strength in the relationship. If he refuses, then gotta give up. Move on.
I think if he refused, I think it's doomed for sure.
Okay.
Doomed.
Well, then obviously Jack either puts the job ahead of the relationship, or he believes that this is worth for the relationship in the long run. But I mean, I would assume that Jill would then maybe leave him, so therefore it wouldn't be good in the long run for the relationship. It just depends on how committed they are to each other.
Well, the strength of the relationship, you'd have to like see the outcome,
Yeah.
So I can't really say much about that.
Okay.
It's weak, and Jack doesn't want to be in the relationship.
If Jill asked for the date night but did not offer to call less, would that be a fair request?
If Jill offered a date night,
Like if she asked for that one date night a week but then didn't offer to also call him less in return, would it be fair?
no, it wouldn't be fair.
Oh, and she's calling less in return for one date night a week.
Yeah, but then she doesn't offer to call less. She's just like, dude, we need a date night.
Is that supposed to be wrong?
Just answer.
I'm asking the questions now.
You don't get to ask the questions.
What else is part of the deal? He just has to offer one. I mean, a deal's a deal.
Yeah, but without the calling less. Stop looking. Without the calling less, is it still okay? Like, would you still do it as Jack?
What level of frequent calls are we talking here? Is there also texts?
Oh, the texts are the annoying
The
ones.
texts are the annoying. Give me calls, but if I have texts throughout the day and then calls, sounds like Jill's getting the better part of the deal here.
Okay, I'll take it.
I mean, maybe if they scheduled the calling, sounds like she just does it randomly, right? Or they didn't say it? I don't know.
His complaint is that she calls too much.
Too much. I mean, to say that that would be a fair request would concede that Jack has been unfair this whole time, which is, I guess, what the question is. And I think it's hard to tell if Jack's being unfair and like putting the job in front of the relationship too much, or if he's doing this for the relationship. So it's really hard to answer that. I guess I don't think it would be fair, but I can't tell.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
No, that's the first question. No, it's not a fair thing.
No, that was her compromise. That was her idea, so she should at least stick to it.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how important do you think compromising is in a relationship?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Perhaps 10 out of 10.
Perhaps 10 out of 10.
After 2 more drinks, 10 out of 10.
After 2. Let it be
Oh,
known.
I'm
We
not-
haven't drank that much.
Oh, that's right. I'm not supposed to endorse these kinds of things.
Well, no, we're
Sorry,
just,
guys.
this is supposed to be real, not you being silly.
I don't think it's important when it's not necessary. I think it's something you have to do as like a last resort.
Really important.
Really important?
Yeah, but it depends on like what the compromise is. Like if it's stupid.
10.
10?
7.
7?
10.
10.
Oh.
Gotta compromise.
No.
No?
Give and take, just like the rest of the world. Just, give and take.
Are
Wait,
those-
is that compromising?
Yeah?
10!
10. Oh my god. What was 7? What did you think compromising was?
That's like she compromises more than he does, or he does more than she.
Like, oh, compromise, I want this, so you should do this. Calm down, like,
It sounds like toxic compromise or something.
yeah, like,
Shit
so,
shaming.
yeah, like, so there's, healthy boundaries, of course.
You
Okay.
should do what I do, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
10.
10?
If you want to stay in the relationship, yes.
Okay. Alright guys, almost a month after I started this and 8 people, including myself, being interviewed for it, I can say that I am finally done and can now give you my final thoughts on this little piece of introspection that turned into a lot more than I thought it was going to be. But before we get into that, I do want to let you guys know that after those 10 questions that I asked everyone, I also had a more open-ended discussion with each person about why I was asking the specific questions, how I feel about the scenario, and where the idea of the video even came from. Because this video is already going to be long enough as it is, and I wanted to keep it more succinct with more scientific, very loosely used, and for lack of a better term, parameters, I've decided to upload those afterthought conversations with each person in a video of its own that's going to come out later today on the same day that this was uploaded. This part is probably one of the most interesting because I get to open up about why I was doing things, and they can give me more insight because they have more information. There's also some funny parts in there, so if you want to check that out, I'll be linking that in the description as soon as it's up, which should be very soon after this video is out. And now my final thoughts. This went from a narcissistic introspection idea that I had that I thought would be cool because I like talking philosophy on my channel, and I liked what I did with Jay where I asked him a bunch of questions about this feminist idea that I had before. The link to that will also be in the description if you're interested in this kind of content. It turned from that into me really exposing my own cognitive dissonance with what I hold to be true in what I want in life and where I could possibly be wrong because of some kind of conditioning in my life. I always have that healthy level of insecurity there where it's like, I know who I am, I know what I want, but could I be wrong that if I maybe worked really hard to change some other thing about myself, down the line I would be happier? If I was a Jill who was more of what I would call right now a doormat and was like, okay, Jack, let's compromise heavily, maybe down the line I would be happier and in a more strengthened relationship than if I had all of that passion that maybe won't be forever or that won't be the core value that I want in a relationship later on. I don't know. I'm always growing, I'm always changing, and the fact that I'm so willing to grow and willing to change and willing to change my mind on things to go toward the betterment of my life is what sometimes makes me insecure in my current choices, so it's really weird. I'm probably gonna ramble at the end of this. But like, for instance, I see quotes that I wholeheartedly agree with that are like, if the person doesn't make time for you, if the person doesn't like reach out in this way or that way or do really sweet things for you, or it goes like above and beyond to be showing you constantly how much they love you, then they don't actually care about you. Just move on. Don't talk to those people. Like, don't surround yourself with people who aren't giving the same energy to the relationship that you are. But maybe in a relationship I just happen to be on the end of the dichotomy where I'm the nurturer, I'm the clingy person, and that works well with the opposite, which I heard in a lot of the interviews. Another takeaway I had from the interviews was that I thought everyone, save for 1 or 2 less developed people, would be a Jack. I thought everyone was going to disagree with me that Jill has the short end of the stick. I thought because even the really really, really feminist psychology girl that on a psychology channel was saying that this was a good compromise, and she's a huge feminist, that there's no way that me not being okay with this compromise was valid, but perhaps I just have different boundaries. But then again, every time I think about my own boundaries or the boundaries of others and how that relates to compromise, I think it would always just be better to understand where the other side is coming from and coexist and not change what you want. I don't know where to draw the line between telling yourself that your feelings aren't valid, because there are some times when you need that tough love. Like, for instance, if you're fucking offended at literally everything in this day and age and you can't hold yourself together because you're constantly just being triggered and offended, yeah, your feelings are not valid. You need to change that. You need to better yourself. But at what point does that stop? Maybe me as Jill, my priorities of having intimacy and stuff, maybe I just need to condition myself away from having that. And that goes toward my ideal goal of being able to switch on and off my emotions so I can logically decide what is best. Where do I draw the line between knowing what I want and what will make me happy and compromising that and changing that? Because I can change that. I can change my mindset. Everyone can. It's very hard. Sometimes you're stuck in your ways, but you can change that. So I don't know what I should be doing, what the happy medium is between not being a fucking clingy, annoying girl that no one's ever gonna like, i.e. a maximum extremist Jill, and having boundaries and setting those and being like, this is what I want, and I'm not gonna budge on that, because I feel like I can always budge on it. It just depends on whether or not I want to. It's very interesting that there were people who were both like, Jack is clearly in the right, Jill is clearly in the right, or I'm a Jack but I can empathize with Jill. It was weird that some of the women that I talked to were Jacks. It was interesting that when I talked to my hairdresser and Lisa, one of them was a Jack and one of them was a Jill, but they empathized more with the opposite. What I went into this wanting was clarity of whether or not a Jack could actually be someone who could love a Jill, or whether or not a Jack type person is too damaged to even be in a relationship, or maybe a Jill type person is too damaged to be in a relationship. At what point is Jill too clingy? At what point is Jack too distant to ever have a relationship? Or should they be looking for their ideal partners in someone who, yeah, they may have trauma and that's what makes them that way, but maybe they'll be perfect partners if there's two Jacks and two Jills, or meeting closer to the middle through therapy and changing the way that they feel and changing their boundaries and compromises. It's so weird how I hear all the time, like, stick up for yourself, stick up for your boundaries, do what makes you happy. But perhaps, and I always preach this, especially with the SJW bullshit, like if you're constantly offended or you're constantly unhappy or you're constantly having too high expectations for a mate, it's possible that instead of following what makes you happy to a T and never compromising on that, that you should compromise with yourself realistically and use logic to do that. This is all over the place. I am gonna let you guys go with this because I feel like this is the best I can possibly do to make this rambly thing any kind of level of coherent, and I want more feedback than I want to keep trying to be more precise and saying the same thing over and over again, which is just gonna make me more imprecise and confusing. So please do let me know what you think in the comment section. I really hope some of you guys actually followed along with this, because that was something I was interested in. You guys actually pausing, answering the questions yourselves, and then posting them in the comments. If you haven't done that yet, you should go back and do so, because I'd be interested in it, even though you've already heard all the answers, so you have formed somewhat of a bias. And if you want me to do this for more types of things, if you want me to do a follow-up where I talk about things that you guys have talked about in the comment section, maybe you've enlightened me on what the fuck the good balance is the balance just wholly subjective? And that's the part of life that I'm having the most trouble with, because I'm the most enlightened to it, and a lot of other people are just like, yes, I'm gonna stick to my boundaries, or no, I'm gonna compromise on everything, and they just like go with that until they die. And I'm trying to find some golden ratio that doesn't actually exist. Let me know if you think that too. Who knows, maybe Jack and Jill are perfect for each other. Maybe that kind of dichotomous relationship and slight compromise makes each other closer to the baseline of being in between Jack and Jill. And maybe at the end that creates the perfect harmony of a relationship. But for me, when I hear it from the perspective of a Jill, all I'm seeing is through the lens of Instagram quotes, through the lens of self-help and self-respect texts, and through my lifelong love of passion and strong romantic love and emotionality that was so bad I decided to turn off and negate most emotions so that I can control them, because otherwise I'd be an emotional wreck. I literally saw Jack, at least initially, as someone who was not capable of actually loving anyone, except for someone who was also not really capable of loving anyone, like a Jack female version. In my head, and even still, there's no way that someone could truly love you or truly feel that desire and that passion for you if they don't even make time for you, if they don't want to see you, if it doesn't hurt hurt when they're away from you to the point where they're invested in seeing you way more than once a week. That to me was just unfathomable, but I'm willing to open my mind and say that maybe it's possible that some people just love differently, but just still as passionately, or maybe that passionate love isn't as important as just being like maybe more logical like Jack is, where he'd be like, yeah, this is a good mate. This person will raise my children right. This person has food at home for me when I get there. So yeah, I love this person, but can I as a Jill live without that passion? And is that passion that I desire holding me back? All things to think about. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me other topics to ask my friends if you want. And maybe we'll do this again because everyone who was in the video seemed to enjoy it. Once again, thank you. Once again, we're gonna have the extended conversations in another video, linked in the description, as long as it's been a few hours since this video's been up. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around. Bye, guys. Are you throwing gang signs?
It was more like peace.
I swear to God, if you have some kids and name them Bob and Cindy, I will fucking kill them. I'll just come over and like slit their throats.
Look, he goes by Billy because he's the younger one.
What? Bob is not Billy.
Really?
Billy is Richard.
No, Richard is Dick.
Richard is Dick and Bill.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, Bill is Bob.
No, Robert is Bob. My dad's name is Bob. Robert is Bob.
Bill is not Richard.
Yes, it is.
You're fucking full of shit.
All right, the
Give me
internet.
my phone.
Where's your phone? Your phone's gonna lie for you. What is Bill short for? What is bullying?
William.
Oh.
Bill is definitely William. We're fucking idiots.
What did you think it was, Richard? Or did I think
You
that?
said Richard. You said Richard. I said Bob, which
That's not even a name. That's a short name.
I think Bill and Bob could both go for Robert.
What?
My name's Jill. I am 37, and I am friends with Tara.
Not
Your
with me.
relationship-
Oh!
I didn't bring any underwear. Okay, I have to go like this, and I have to remember to stay like this, like a lady, like a fucking lady. Okay.
Colin, can I fill up my drink before we start? Is that
Okay,
fair?
go. I'm waiting. Oh my god. They can just look at my pussy. They're past the honeymoon phase and are in a long-term committed relationship. Jack?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Are you fixing your cleavage?
That's what we got. Oh my god. That's how you're gonna be, aren't you?
I get camera shy.
Don't be. It's not a camera. Just talk to me. Don't even look at it.